Over the weekend, Ant-Man celebrated its one-year anniversary. I'd like to take a moment to talk about the Marvel film no one saw succeeding and how it became one of my favorites in the entire MCU. Now, I've been a comic book fan for a long time. I'm not just talking about the kind that, played with the toys and watched the cartoons as a kid. I'm talking about the one that actually read the books, and a lot of them. So when I heard Ant-Man was getting a movie and it wasn't Hank Pym, I thought this was going to be the one that flops. Then I heard Edgar Wright was attached, so I was back on board because I love Hot Fuzz and I love Shaun of the Dead. But then he got fired, so there went my interest. So the build-up to Ant-Man's release was lukewarm for me at best. Even Guardians of the Galaxy had me more excited, and I'm not even a fan. Fast forward to the release of the film, and boy, my opinion changed. What I love about Ant-Man is what I love about the MCU in general. Good films that tell an interesting story that just so happen to be part of a larger narrative. The film happens to be a superhero comedy that actually works, unlike my superhero ex-girlfriend or Batman v Superman. I laughed, didn't you? Whenever I think about the comedy in Ant-Man, I think about Michael Pena. He's an actor that's been on my radar for years, but outside of End of Watch, I don't think I've seen him in anything. When we first meet him and he's driving Scott home, I can't help but crack up when he fills him in about all the bad shit that's been going down. My dad left, my girl left me, but I got this van. That's just funny to me. That dude exudes charisma, and I don't think we have enough Michael Penas in the world. But then again, that would make Michael Pena less special. Besides that, I love the fucking Baskin-Robbins always finds out joke. For months after the movie, my friends and I, the other guys on this channel, would always talk about something and finish the sentence with, Baskin-Robbins always finds out. Also, the narration flashback scenes are fucking comedy gold. When Michael Pena's narrating and the other people are talking, it is hilarious. Now, I know it's cliche to talk about movie effects nowadays, but Ant-Man stands out from the rest of the MCU to me personally because it's not focused on wide-scale destruction and invading armies. It's about shrinking the viewer alongside Ant-Man, and it brings us into his world. The first time Scott shrinks is incredible. From riding on a record to being sucked up through the vacuum cleaner, every second is just mesmerizing. I watched it the other day, and everything just fucking works. It fires on every cylinder. Now, I'm going to use the word breathtaking, which is a word I rarely use because I think you sound like a dick when you say it. But that scene where Scott goes subatomic is breathtaking. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it in a film. The closest thing that I can think of is the light tunnel from 2001: A Space Odyssey, but Ant-Man is a lot less pretentious. Marvel movies have always focused on making the unrealistic look real, like Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk, but this was the first time they dealt with the abstract. I really wish there was more like that in the MCU. So hopefully Doctor Strange shows us something we've never seen before. Ultimately, Ant-Man is a story of fathers and daughters. Scott must redeem himself in the eyes of his ex-wife and her dickhead husband to become part of his daughter's life, and Hank must repair the bond broken between him and Hope all those years ago. When you have an actor the caliber of Michael Douglas, you know that the drama will be top-notch, and Paul Rudd brings it as well. I don't think I've ever seen a bad Paul Rudd performance. Now, I've seen bad Paul Rudd movies, like This Is 40, but he's always stood out, and this is the case with Ant-Man 2. I don't think Paul Rudd knows how to play an unlikable character. I don't even think Paul Rudd knows how to be an unlikable guy, but that's just me projecting on him. This wouldn't be a Marvel movie if it didn't fit into a bigger picture. Ant-Man is no different. In the opening scene, we get the Triskelion from Winter Soldier, Agent Carter, and Howard Stark. Later on in the film, there's a mention of the Iron Man suit and the events of Age of Ultron. I remember being in the theater going, ooh, that just happened back in May, as this film came out in July. It made me feel like the Marvel Cinematic Universe was a real world. They talk about those events, and it's something that no other franchise has done successfully. My favorite crossover moment in the entire film is when Falcon showed up. I'd always thought of the Falcon as a third-rate Marvel character from the 70s who spoke in jive, a lot like Blade, but with more red. It wasn't until The Winter Soldier came out that I saw him as a real player and an awesome character. Now, if you listen to this channel, you know my thoughts on race-swapping characters. I hate it. Especially when you have such a strong, well-written character as Falcon running around. Anthony Mackie brings his brand of humor and authority that we saw in Winter Soldier. Even though he's fighting our protagonist, he's just as lovable as always. When thinking about the entire MCU and where I would rank Ant-Man, I would have to say 5th, behind Civil War, Winter Soldier, Avengers, and Iron Man. Ant-Man is everything I could want out of a movie like this. It's funny, action-packed, well-acted, well-written, memorable, and original. I give Ant-Man a 9 out of 10. Did you like this review? Was I too nice to Ant-Man? Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure I'll hear about it, one way or another. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button for a lot more content that's coming your way. If you're in a giving mood, check out our sponsor, Incarnate Studios. They do t-shirts. Cool ones. They just released a bunch of Pokemon Go stuff, so if that's your thing, grab them while you can. This is Jeff of World Class Bullshitter signing off. Stay thirsty, my friends.